So the boss said to me that we need to have more of a local feel, and I suggested Johnathan. Can I introduce you?
How do you do, Johnathan? Welcome to the team. Lynn speaks quite highly of you.
Thank you. I hope I can live up to your expectations.
You take that chair, I think. We've tested the microphone already.
Thank you. I didn't realize you do this much preparation for each episode.
That's all Lynn. I'm just the foil to her genius.
Oh, please. Anyway, let's get started. Hello everyone, Lynn here, welcoming you to Priviso Live, episode 35, your South African source for information security, risk and ICT legislation.
Hello all, Stephen here.
As you may have heard, we're introducing a new member to the team, Johnathan. I've worked on and off with John over many years, and I know he will make a great contribution.
Well, thank you, Lynn. I haven't done this before, but I'm looking forward to the experience.
We've had a request from a listener to cover ransomware, and to be honest, it's strange that we haven't done so already. In this episode, we'll talk about the history of this attack, which goes back much further than I think people realize.
In the next episode, we'll go into more detail on the current state of play. John, why don't you lead the way?
Well, all right then.
Ina Simone is retired. She's a mother and grandmother from Russia who now lives outside of Boston. In the fall of 2014, her home computer started acting strangely. Ina saw dozens of these messages. They were all the same. They read, "Your files are encrypted. To get the key to decrypt them, you have to pay $500. All of her files were locked. Tax returns, financial papers, letters, even the precious photos of her granddaughter Zoe. Tuesday afternoon, the full ransom was sent to the hacker's account. Ina inserted one short message to the criminals with her payment.
I wrote, "I wish you all will drop dead."
So picture this. It's 1989 and a Harvard-educated biologist named Joseph Popp is mailing out 20,000 floppy disks labeled AIDS information. These disks promised data about the AIDS epidemic, but there was a catch.
The disk contained the AIDS Trojan, the world's first known ransomware. After a user ran the program, it encrypted their files and demanded $189 to unlock them. It's wild to think ransomware started with snail mail.
Before doing the research, I never realized it started so far back.
Exactly. Popp's scheme was primitive. No Bitcoin, no dark web. He got caught fast, claiming he wanted to fund AIDS research. But the damage was done. The concept of locking files for ransom was born.
And that set the stage for the 90s and early 2000s, when ransomware was more of a nuisance than a global crisis. You had stuff like the crypto-virology papers by Adam Young and Modi Young in 1996, theorizing how cryptography could weaponize malware. But those early attacks were small potatoes. Weak encryption, no real payment systems. It wasn't until the mid-2000s that things got serious.
Fast forward to 2005 to 2010, and cyber criminals started getting organized. What changed, John?
Two big things: better encryption and anonymous payments. Ransomware like GP Coder and Winlock used stronger crypto, making it harder to crack. Then, digital currencies like Liberty Reserve and later Bitcoin gave criminals a way to get paid without being traced.
This is when we see the rise of key actors like Reviton in 2012, which impersonated law enforcement, claiming your computer was locked for illegal activity. Pay a fine to unlock it.
Reviton was a game changer because it introduced psychological tactics. It wasn't just about locking files, it was about scaring victims into paying. Around this time, we also saw groups like CryptoLocker 2013 and CryptoWall 2014 professionalizing the game. These were full-on cyber crime syndicates using exploit kits and phishing campaigns.
CryptoLocker was a beast. It encrypted entire networks and demanded Bitcoin payments. It reportedly made over $27 million before being taken down by Operation Tovar, a global law enforcement effort.
And let's not forget the affiliates. By the mid-2000s teens, ransomware as a service emerged. Groups like Locky and Cerber let low-skill hackers rent their malware, splitting the profits. It was like the Uber of cybercrime.
Okay, John, let's get to the juicy stuff. Nation-states. When did governments start getting in on the ransomware game?
Pay a ransom in order to unlock it. You may have heard a lot about them recently. Back in May, a ransomware attack shut down a top US gas pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline, a major artery for fuel along the East Coast. And while the company stressed at the time that there was still plenty of gas available, just the very idea that there might be a shortage led to chaos.
The lines for gas getting longer, from the Carolinas down to Florida. Panicked drivers overwhelming gas stations. Across the Southeast, demand is up 40%. Prices at the pump inching up too.
I'll spend that extra few bucks. That's the way it is.
Well, I just could have heard there was going to be a run on gas, and we figured I better get it now.
It's tricky to pin down because nation-states don't usually sign their work. But by the late 2010s, we saw signs of state-backed actors using ransomware either for profit or geopolitics. The big wake-up call was WannaCry in 2017.
Oh, WannaCry was chaos. It hit over 200,000 systems in 150 countries, locking up hospitals, factories, and more. And it was linked to North Korea's Lazarus Group, right?
Exactly. The US and UK governments formally attributed WannaCry to North Korea. The attack used Eternal Blue, an NSA exploit leaked by the shadow brokers. It showed how state-developed tools could be repurposed by cybercriminals or state actors for ransomware.
And North Korea wasn't alone. Russia's been a major player too. Groups like Revil and Conti operated with impunity from Russia, raising suspicions of Kremlin tolerance or even support.
Yep. Revil, also called Sodinokibi, hit major targets like JBS Foods and Kaseya in 2020 to 2021, raking in hundreds of millions. Conti, meanwhile, openly supported Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, hinting at ideological ties. The fact that these groups operate from Russia, where extradition is nearly impossible, suggests at least tacit approval.
And don't forget Iran and China. Iran's been linked to attacks on critical infrastructure, like the 2016 Samsam ransomware that targeted US cities. China's more subtle, often blending espionage with ransomware to mask data theft.
The nation-state angle blurs the line between cybercrime and cyber warfare. For example, Russia's Black Energy Group used ransomware-like tactics in Ukraine to disrupt power grids. It's not always about money. It can be about chaos or strategic advantage.
So where are we now in 2025? Ransomware's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Who are the key players today?
The landscape's dominated by a few big names. Lockbit is still a major force, despite a 2024 law enforcement takedown. They've rebuilt and remain the most prolific ransomware as a service operation, targeting everything from schools to hospitals.
Then there's ALPHV/Black Cat, which pulled off the massive Change Healthcare attack in 2024, disrupting U.S. healthcare payments. They're known for sophisticated social engineering and double extortion, encrypting data and leaking it if you don't pay.
Don't forget Clop, which exploits software vulnerabilities like MoveIt to hit hundreds of organizations at once. And new players like Ransom Hub are rising fast, filling gaps left by disrupted groups.
It's like whack-a-mole. Law enforcement shuts one down and another pops up. And the stakes are higher now with triple extortion, adding DDoS attacks or targeting customers directly.
Absolutely. And nation-states are still in the mix. North Korea's Lazarus Group keeps funding its regime through crypto heists and ransomware. Russia-based groups like DarkSide and Conti successors continue to thrive, likely with state protection. Even smaller players like Iran-linked groups are targeting critical infrastructure to sow disruption.
All right, John, let's wrap this up. What's the future of ransomware looking like?
Well, it's not going away. AI is making phishing and social engineering more convincing, and quantum computing could eventually break weaker encryption, forcing defenders to adapt. We're also seeing ransomware target cloud systems and IoT devices, which are harder to secure.
And geopolitics will keep driving state-backed attacks. As long as countries like Russia and North Korea see ransomware as a low-risk, high-reward tool, they'll keep at it.
On the flip side, defenders are getting smarter. Global cooperation, like the Counter-Ransomware Initiative, is disrupting operations. And companies are investing in backups and incident response. But the arms race continues.
Well, that's a sobering note to end on. Ransomware's come a long way from floppy disks to nation-state warfare. Thanks for breaking it down, John.
Anytime.
That's it from us for this episode. If you want to hear more of the same, don't forget to subscribe or like our channel to receive future episodes. You can find us on all primary podcast channels, including Apple, Samsung, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. As always, this is sponsored by Priviso Consulting, your partner when trust matters.
And remember, if you need security, risk, or ICT legislation assistance, contact Priviso directly at admin@priviso.co.za. Until next time, stay safe.
Until next time, stay safe.
Stay safe.